So we're restarting this video because I did not have the microphone plugged in. So we get a little bit more cuddle time. So we like to sit like this with his belly on my back. We're going to start our breathing together. And sometimes if this is not comfortable for you and you don't love this, you can sit back to back and just kind of sit in a position like this with your backs up toward one another. You can sit facing with each other with your foreheads toward one another, maybe your hand on each other's heart. We like to kind of sit like this. His back is in my belly, and then I can feel the expansion of his belly, and he can feel my ribs. And so we're going to breathe. So we're going to exhale. It's Ujjayi breath, everything out through the mouth. So at your inhale, you're going to pull with the throat muscles and expand the belly. Exhale, pull the belly back in. And inhale. And exhale. Inhale again. And exhale. You're going to do that a couple more times on your own, syncing your breath, trying to feel the anticipation of your partner's breath, and keep breathing. Inhale together, and then feel your partner running out of breath, and then you exhale together. And we're going to finish off that exhale. And we're going to start with some partner stretching. We're going to do a mix. There's some people who prefer acro and some people who prefer the intimate. So we're going to do a little bit of a mix of it, and so that everybody gets a little taste of everything, so you can try different things out and know what the different classes are, what you like and what you don't like. And if you don't want to do any of the acro stuff, you don't have to, but it's sure fun trying and playing around with it. It's helpful when you have us in class to spot you and help you engage in some of these things, but the couple stretching and the Thai massage and all that stuff, you can totally do on your own. So just play around with it and see what's comfortable for you and what you enjoy doing. And it's really about connecting with your partner, learning to listen to them. Our anatomies are completely different. So he's tighter in some areas than I am, and vice versa. And so you have to communicate those things to your partner so that they know how deep to stretch you and when to back off, where your tight areas are and where your more flexible areas are. So we're going to sit back to back. So he was sitting on a blanket because his hips are a little bit tighter, and so for him to wrap around me like that, he would have had to arch his spine and it would have been uncomfortable for him. So I had him sitting on a blanket so that he would feel a little bit better about that. So as you can see, our anatomies are different. His torso is longer than my torso. And you can see that my hips are more open than his hips because his knees are a little bit higher. So you have to take that stuff into consideration with your partner. So we're going to take your right hand, reach back and grab your partner's thigh. And your left hand is going to grab your right thigh. So your spine is lifted up nice and tall. Take a breath in. And exhale, and you're going to pull on their leg and push on your leg, and you're going to twist. Take another breath in. Exhale and twist. So you're pulling on the legs to get a nice deep twist. Now, if your partner is shaking, you're twisted enough. If you got a little bit more in you, exhale and twist it a little bit deeper. And release, switching it out. So your left hand is going to grab their thigh. Your right hand is going to grab your thigh. Take a breath in. And exhale, twist, making sure your spine is nice and straight. Exhale, twist a little deeper. And one more breath. And exhale. And release. So we're going to lean to the right and we're going to lay on their thigh. Now, if this is too intense of a stretch for them, you can place a blanket or a pillow underneath that knee so that it doesn't drop too much. You can tell if it's too uncomfortable for you and they're dropping too far, you can still prop something underneath that leg to lift you up a little bit more. This is a nice time for touching. My husband apparently doesn't want to touch me tonight.
You're on camera, Becky.
It's okay. Wow, you know, sometimes it's inappropriate touching, but. So as you're laying here, if this is super uncomfortable for you, the leg that they're not laying on, you can lengthen out and that's gonna feel a lot better in your hips. It's a deeper hip opener if you can keep the leg folded, but if it's uncomfortable and too intense, then just lengthen out that leg. So they're opening up your hip as they're laying on that thigh. The more you can relax into it, the deeper of a stretch you're going to get, the more comfortable it's going to feel. When you fight it, it makes it more uncomfortable and it's way more intense. But when you actually let the breath, when you exhale into it, it just softens everything and makes it feel much better. We're just going to be here for another breath. And we're going to roll up out of it. Position our backs back to back again. And then leaning to the left and laying on that thigh. So again, I feel like you're falling off. Can you slide over a little bit? There you go. Again, from side to side, mobility is different. So if it's intense, lengthen out that free leg or place a blanket underneath the other side. Rest in it, relax. Taking a couple more breaths here. And let's roll back up. Alright, sitting back to back again. Scoot back toward me, babe. Alright, so guys, you can have a hip opener, which is folded legs in like this, or hamstring, which is lengthen legs out like that. Ladies, we're going to get up on our feet, or pick a partner. It might not be male, female, so I didn't mean to make that exclusive to that. That's not the case. So one partner is going to be with legs extended, the other one is going to be with feet underneath their booty, And then we're gonna take a back bend over their back as we stretch out their hamstrings. So we might get a cat in the video, or 2 or 3. So we're gonna extend up and over. If it's too much, you have to tell your partner, I'm gonna keep sliding up and over to bend my back, lengthen my legs, and rest, relax in it. So you get a nice back bend. They're getting a hamstring stretch. Does it feel okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes they can grab your hand and deepen your back bend, but you have to exhale into it. One more breath here. And they're gonna raise up to help lift us up. We're gonna bring booty back down. So same thing, opposite partner. You have the choice between a hip opener, which is folded legs, or hamstring stretch. If you feel weak, like you need more support, you can put your forearms down on the floor, and that's gonna keep them from dropping you too deep into that stretch. The cat is in the picture. You can bring those arms up over the head to give you a deeper stretch. One more breath here. And we're going to assist them up as they come up and slide back down. All right, we're going to face one another and straddle each other. The cat wants to be in it. So anatomy is different. So hamstrings are more flexible on one than the other usually. He doesn't have as flexible hamstrings as what I have, so our feet are not together, so don't worry about the feet being together. We want the widest straddle that we can get. So if you place your hands behind your booty, lift up and pull back, then you're on the very bottom and you're not rounding out here like this. We don't want this. We want a nice lifted spine. So wide legs as much as you can. Interlace the right forearms, so wrist, hand to wrist, and we're going to exhale the left arm open and lean. We're pulling against each other. So it's a nice twist, and it starts to open up those hamstrings. Switching out the arms. Exhale, open. Connecting both arms, crossing. I'm going to take a breath, and I'm going to exhale and pull him in toward me. He's going to give the cat a kiss. So if it's too much, you have to tell your partner, exhale. Keep breathing. And let's switch it out. Gonna exhale, and I'm literally gonna land on the cat. So he's gonna lay back. Just lay back. And pull me towards you. Back off a little bit. And bringing that back up. That was nice. So straddling. We're going to inhale the back arm up and exhale up and over. So the opposite arm is on the inside of the thigh and we're reaching up and over. Take a breath and exhale, reach a little bit longer. And one more breath. And inhale the opposite arm up. Exhale over. Opposite arm on the inner thigh. Reaching up and over. And exhale, drop into it a little bit more. And one more breath. And bringing that up. We're going to fold in the left leg. And then his foot is connecting to my shin, my foot is connecting to his shin, so we have kind of like a rectangle going on here. Interlacing the hands and the wrists. And I'm going to exhale, pull him into me. So, like he just tapped my arms, that means that's enough. So you can do that with your partner, just gently tapping them, just letting them know that's enough. One more breath here. And exhale, he's going to pull me toward him. And bringing that up, switching out those legs. I'm going to exhale him in toward me. One more breath here. And exhale, he's going to pull me in toward him. Going to get into a child's pose facing the TV. So knees are wide so the belly drops through, lengthening the arms out, getting a nice good stretch. I'm going to assist by pushing down on his sacrum. You can place a knee there, or if you want, you can climb on and then pressing up through the shoulder blades. That feel okay?
Yeah.
One more breath here. top, and before we switch, he's going to come up into all fours. And I'm going to sit on his sacrum and then drop my booty below his a little bit, reaching my arms up and over, and he's going to do a cat-cow. So he's going to exhale and push his spine up into the ceiling. It's going to give me a stretch. And then exhale, dropping the chest through. And then back up. And then dropping through. And bring that to neutral. And just kind of wiggle like a snake side to side. So he's going to S-curve his body around, and it's going to move my body. So whoever is the person that is on top is the receiver. And so it's just kind of massaging out your spine, slow movements, so that they don't feel like they're falling off your back. And then bringing that center, now bring your forearms down to the floor. We're going to do that same thing. It's going to be a deeper stretch. So you should feel that in your hip flexors a little bit more. Now they're going to exhale, push up through their spine. And then dropping back down. And then exhale, pushing up through the spine. And then S-curve. And they're going to bring that up, and it's going to help us come back down to the floor. So they're going to sink their booty back to their heels, and it helps us sit up. And we're going to switch places. So I'm going to come into child's pose, and he is going to stretch me out by placing his knee or climbing on top on the sacrum. One more breath here. And coming off of that, bringing that into all fours. So they're going to sit on the sacrum. Making sure the hands are right underneath your shoulders. That keeps you strong. Bringing those arms up over the head if that feels good. And then you're going to do cat-cow. So you're going to exhale, push your spine up, round out. And then drop the chest through. And exhale up, round out. And then drop the chest through. Bringing that into neutral, and then just kind of do an S-curve. Nice and slow so they don't feel like they're going to fall off. One more time. And we're going to bring it down to the forearms. So this is a deeper stretch through the hip flexors. Take a breath and exhale, push the spine up. And dropping that down. Exhale, pushing that up. Inhale down. And one more time. Exhale, pushing that up. and bringing that neutral and that S curve nice and slow. And we're going to sink them down to the floor as you come up. Their booty comes down. Nice. Alright. So now we're going to get into some fun postures and then we'll finish off with our Thai massage. So, first thing is plank on plank. So, let's do a little bit of trust exercises first before we get going with that. So let's bring it to standing. Hand in hand. So in acro, the hands are like this, hand in hand. We don't interlace fingers. My palm goes into his palm. His fingers are out, my fingers are in. Stepping back, bone stacking, so all the way from my shoulder to his shoulder. And he's going to pull his elbows in toward his ribs, not past his ribs. And then push me back out. And then I'm going to bring him to me. And then pushing him back out. So you want to keep the core strong. If you sag your bellies in like this, you're going to be weak. So keep your core strong. And he's going to pull me into him. And I will pull him into me. One more time.
You're raising your arms.
Because you're not extending your arms. No. There we go. All right, we're done with that one. And we're going to do one arm at a time. No, opposite. So I'm going to receive him. And he's going to receive me. And we're going to switch. I don't think I can handle you that. I don't think I can handle all your body weight like that.
Our arms are fading up.
Okay, that's enough of that one. That didn't go over so great. All right, so let's do, all right. So so you help your partner down to the floor. So we're going to just practice receiving. So he's gonna put his feet on my thighs. So you have to put your first two fingers where your hip bones are, and then the ball of his foot is gonna go where those hip bones are. The tendency is to turn the feet out, and we don't want that. We want the feet straight up and down. The heel should be on the thigh. And I'm just going to step back. Now I don't want my body sagging in like this. I want it nice and straight. And he's just going to bend his knees in and out. Not too far because my feet will slide out from underneath me. So keeping the body nice and straight, your gaze is out. You don't want to cave like this, and you don't want to cave like this. You want to stay nice and straight. And that just develops a little trust between you and your partner. They feel stability with you, you feel stability with them, and it just flows because you're going to end up flying here in a moment. Alright, so we're going to do plank on plank. So he's going to flip over into a plank, and I'm going to plank on top of him the opposite direction. So you don't want to dig your toes up into their shoulders. You want the top of your feet on their shoulders. And your feet can go on the floor or on their ankles, whichever you want. You can play around with that. So tuck the booty up. And so there's the plank. Hopefully you don't have stinky feet because my feet are right up by his head. And bringing that down. So at any time you can pause this, play around with those postures, because normally when we're in class we have playtime and we do it and we show you, and then there's playtime of getting in and out of those poses. So when you want to work on those for a little bit, just pause the video, play around with that, and then you can move on to the next one. Alright, so we're going to now do bird. So he's going to be on his back. Placing those feet on those hip bones. We're going to do it this direction, and then we're going to turn and show you that direction. So my hands go inside. Remember, we're not clasping hands like this. And he's going to keep his arms straight. And then I'm going to bend mine, and he's going to push up and out. Now I have to squeeze my low back muscles, and then I can fly. To come back down out of it, hands, and then he bends his knees and sets me out of it. So now he's going to turn his head this direction so you can see placement of the feet. So show them where your hip bones are, because if the toes are not in the right place, then you're not going to have the right stability, because these feet are on my hip bones, which keeps me stable. And also, like, if the toes are up too high, those toes are going to be pushing into my gut, and that's not going to be comfortable. So when we're flying, if you feel like your body is tipping forward too much, then you say more toes, and they push the toes up, and then that balances you out. If you feel like your upper body is too high and you need to come down a little bit, you say less toes, and then they give you less toes. So his arms are going to be straight. I'm going to bend my elbows into him. He's going to pull me up, and then we're going to fly. So you have to squeeze those low back muscles. If the feet are too narrow, then you're going to squish your guts. If they're too wide, you're going to fall right through and land on your partner, and that's no bueno. All right, so that same thing. We're going to, so you see how they need to have nice flexible hamstrings. That's why we get them good and stretched out before this. We're going to go into folded leaf. And so we'll show you from both angles. Since we're already here, we'll show you this angle first. So it's the same thing. You have to come up into bird. Once we're up into bird, so see these feet are like this. This is how we come up into bird. Once we're into bird, the feet will turn out right in the hinge of your hips so that your body can fall through and your legs separate, but not going up into bird. They need to be like this to go up into bird, or you won't be secure. So his arms are straight, my arms are going to bend. I'm leaning in, he's pulling me up, he's turning his toes out, my legs are spreading, my chest is dropping, and we can hang. To come back out of it, he's going to place his hands on my shoulders and start to lift me up and bend the knees and bring me back down. And there's a cat in the screen. Get off, Eddie. So we're going to do that again this direction so you can see how that looks. Starting off in bird, his arms are straight, my arms bend, and he flies me up. Starts to turn the toes out. At the same time, my legs spread and my upper body drops. So if these legs are up too high, your body's going to want to fall into them. So try to hinge in the hips. And his hands come to my shoulders. And he brings me out of it. He was straining, his legs were shaking. Do you need a little bit of a break?
No.
All right. So we're going to go into throne. So pause the video, play around with this a little bit. It takes a little playtime. We have already had our falls and mishaps and played around in it and all of that kind of stuff. So we're getting more fluent in it, and it comes from practice. So we started out a hot mess. He threw me across the room one time. I landed into this TV stand one time. So it just takes some playtime. So thrown, anatomy matters. So if they have really tight hamstrings, it's really hard to get their feet where they need to be on your bum. Anatomy matters. We have a couple in yoga, you know who you are, who he's really tall and she's really short. So in order for him to get his feet where they need to be, she has to really stand on some blocks. So I have to stand on some blocks, but she has to double stack her blocks. Or you can, if you have books, something firm and solid. So I place them beside his head. And I stand on them, and then he brings his feet to where the toes are underneath my butt cheeks. If it's too narrow, then it's not going to work out good. And if it's too wide, my booty's going to want to fall through. So it has to be right dead in the center. So I'm going to lift a little bit so they can get in the right spot. I'm going to look out, and he's going to grab my ankles, pull me up. He shifts his hands to underneath my feet. Now, we're in a pretty good spot, and normally I have to adjust, and I might adjust a little bit. So you shift your body weight, and then they move their foot, and then you shift your body weight again. Make sure you're not looking down at them, because you will lose trust. Keep your eyes looking out, and now he can let go of my feet, and I can just hang here. And he's going to grab my feet and then my ankles, bringing me down, bringing my feet down to the blocks, and dismount. And we're going to do it that way. So we're going to turn. So that you can see how we mount up. Toes come up underneath the booty. I'm looking forward. And so the feet aren't quite in the right position. So you notice he transferred his hands from my ankles to my feet. This helps me feel very secure. So I'm going to lean, and he's going to shift his foot higher on my thigh, lean to the other side, and then now he can let go. So now he has to be bone stacking. So his feet need to be above his hips, because if they're too far forward, I'm going to want to fall forward. And if they're too far back, then I can't hang here. And then he's going to grab my ankles and then bring my feet down to the floor. What's that? And so we're going to do a fun one. This one is a little bit advanced. If you have a wall, you could do it up against the wall, or if you have a person spotting you, you can have someone spot you. Slide it over this way and turn that way.
What do you mean? Like this?
We're going to go into the handstand, shoulder stand.
So like this?
Yeah. Slide back this way just a little bit more and toward me. Okay, so now he has to get his heels deep into his booty. And I'm going to step over here. He's going to bring his hands, and we'll do it this way so you can see how his hands are. He's just placing his hands like this, cupped around my shoulders. My hands are going to be on his thighs, and if you have slick clothing on, you want to be able to try to get skin. So he's going to bring his hands here. If the legs are too far away, I can't get my hands touching. The hands have to touch. So my hands are touching his thighs, his hands are touching my shoulders, and he's pushing into me. So I can't go over his shoulders this way. He has to push against me, and that's keeping my hands on his thighs. And so then I'm going to bring a foot up to knee and here, and then my knees are going to be on my triceps. Then I can pull my feet away, and then if I want, I can bring that up into a shoulder stand. And then he's going to sit up. And I'm going to he's going to put his elbows, his triceps on his knees. We're actually going to turn the other way in case I fall. I don't fall into the TV stand. I fall that way. So, his hands are going to come. Oh, we needed to show them that direction too so they see how the shoulders go. How the hands go on the shoulders. So pull the feet way up into the booty. My hands go on his thighs. Now notice his hands are not up here. They're reaching out this way. And see where his hands are? His thumbs are not digging into my collarbones. They're up here, rounding around my shoulders. So he's pushing into me. So he's keeping my hands pushing into his thighs. I'm going to bring a foot up to his knee, another foot up to his knee, get my knees on my triceps, and then float that up. Ta-da! All right, so this is similar. He's going to rest his triceps here. I'm going to place my hands here and bring my knees up to his shoulders. Dropping my shoulders into his hands. And I'm kind of stuck right now. Kiss me again. It's an awkward dismount. Oh, we won't show that one from the opposite view. Alright, so that's some fun acro stuff. That's enough for tonight. We're going to do a little bit of Thai massage to show you what we do and what makes the guys fall in love with us. So I'm going to have his head facing you so that you can see what I'm doing. So we want to give them nice restful experience. So support their head as they're laying back, because sometimes when they're laying on their back, their head is not, it's kind of uncomfortable. So I'm going to come in between the legs, and the receiver, which is the person laying on the floor, is doing the receiving. They need to be like putty in your hands. So everything that we do, we move their body for them. So they're kind of lifeless. So receiver, you have to surrender. You have to let us move you and not try to control us. It is a trust. It is a surrendering to one another. And so it's a really tender, nice thing to do. It's not a manipulating of muscles like this. It's pressure. It's acupressure. So it feels really good. I don't get to receive because I am the teacher. So, but he loves it. I usually put him to sleep. So his feet are a little bit apart from one another. And so I'm going to start pressing, but not hard, because you don't want those ankle bones to be pressing into the floor. So just nice gentle pressing. So I usually like go up and down whatever area I'm working about 3 times. You can do this for as long as you want. You can shut off the video once you know what you're doing and go back through and do it again. I'm going to start working up the inside of his calves. So not on the shin bone, but right on the inside of the calves, and I'm just pressing evenly on both sides. So sometimes when you're pressing on a muscle, you might come across a knot, and we don't want to work out those. We have a class for that. That's called mobility class, and we're intentional about working out those knots. But we don't want to do that here because that's super uncomfortable, and we want them to have an enjoyable experience. So we want to stay off of knots. So if you come across one of those, just come up off of it. Last time, and doesn't matter which leg, take your hands, scoop up underneath their knee, the other hand grabs their foot, and we're going to pull that up. I'm going to slide my knee up underneath, and then his foot is going to be up on my shoulder. And I'm going to press into, so one hand's on that thigh to keep that leg down, up into that armpit. So I'm going to open up his hips, opening his hip flexor on this side, opening up the hip on this side, just wherever is comfortable for you. One more time. And I'm going to circle that knee around. So I'm going to take the knee across the body, make a big circle with it. 3 times around. And rotate the other direction. One more time around. I have a cat going crazy over in the corner, so you might enter the video. And then we're going to take this foot and we're going to place it on the inner thigh and let that knee fall open so it looks like a number 4. I'm going to put my knees, one on one side and one on the other side of his knee, and then my hands are going to be like this, and we're going to press down on the calf and the thigh at the same time. So we're going to start toward the knee and just press. And we're going to work our way up toward the ankle and toward the hip. If this is too intense, you can slide a blanket or a pillow underneath that knee so that it doesn't push their knee down too far. So up and down, again, if you come across any knots in the muscle, just kind of back off of it. And you want firm pressing. If you're pressing too soft and your hands are slipping, that's very uncomfortable for your partner. So don't let your hands slip around on the muscles. You want to press down on them. One more time. And I'm going to pick that knee up, and I'm going to lay it over his body. So I'm going to slide my foot between his legs. This other leg is long because we're going to twist him out. So the knee's coming across the body. My hand is going to come up here on his shoulder, keep that shoulder pinned down. And he's going to look toward that hand as I twist him out. So you're going to take a breath in, and with the exhale, we're going to press into you. So you have to be exhaling as we press into you to deepen that stretch. And you have to tell your partner if it's too much. Take a breath in. And exhale. And one more breath. And exhale. And laying them back on their back. Moving to the other leg. So we're going to scoop up underneath that knee. Bringing that up into my shoulder. My boob. And then I'm going to exhale and push that in to his armpit, holding down this leg. Don't overstretch, but you have to tell them if it's too much. Inhale, release, and exhale, pressing. Inhale, release. One more time, exhale and press. circle his leg around. So I'm gonna just kind of guide that knee around in circles, making sure we cross the center line of the body. So we want to really open up as we pull that knee across. We're opening up into that hip. And rotating the opposite direction. One more time. And I'm going to lay that knee over because we're going to twist them out, and I'm going to slide my foot between his legs just to hold that one in place. And then my hand is going to come up here on his shoulder to keep that shoulder pinned down. He's going to look in the direction of that arm, and we're going to exhale and twist. Now really gentle, because sometimes that is too intense of a spinal twist. And then as we exhale, push. So you always exhale into the stretch. And one more breath. And exhale. And release. And then I'm going to pull both knees up. I'm going to push both knees up, and the feet are going to land on my thighs. And I'm just going to release the low back. So we're opening up into the hips as we push those knees into the armpits and releasing the low back. So just applying a little bit of pressure and a little bit of release, and a little bit of pressure and release and pressure and release. Lengthening the legs. And then I'm going to stretch and bring it back. One more time. Stretch that out. And bringing that back. And one more time. This foot over this thigh, and just a little bit of assist so you can tell the resistance of your partner. He's very tight here, so I'm not going to overstretch him. You don't want to hurt them. So just a little bit of pulsing back and forth. One more breath here. Switching that out. So this is his tight side. I can tell by where his knee is at, so I'm not going to force this. Just a little gentle stretching. Breath here, and cross that, and gently place their feet back on the floor. I'm going to have them roll over onto his belly. Normally in Thai massage you flip them yourself, but we haven't mastered that without it being ugly. So we're gonna make like a triangle with our hands, and we're gonna go up the spine. See, I like to put my knee between his legs, and then I'm just going to, with a little bit of a wide triangle like this, so that the pressure's not on the spine, it's on the muscles on both sides of the spine. And you're gonna press. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
And you're gonna press and apply a little bit of pressure. And so we just go up and down about 3 times. I forgot. I forgot to compress on the thigh and the calf on this other leg. We'll have to go back and catch that. One last time. With the palms at the base, with their fingers out, kind of like a cat is mixing, but no nails. We're just going to go back and forth, not on the spine, just on the muscles, making sure the hands don't slip off. You're just pressing, good compressions, not too intense. One more time, up and down that back. And we're going to place that hand behind their head. Your hand is going to go on their hand, and your forearm is going to be on their back, except for not on their spine. You just want to off on that muscle, just no pressure on the spine. You're going to scoop up underneath that elbow, and then the receiver is going to be nice and relaxed, and we're going to exhale and just gently pull up on that elbow. Inhale, release, and exhale. And inhale. One more time, exhale. And inhale, releasing that hand, bringing that hand back to you. Palm is up, and you're just going to massage with your thumbs right in the palm of their hand. This works better with lotion, but it's nice. Working out around the heel of the hand, down through the fingers. Just a little nice little hand massage. Then up to the next two fingers. And that center one. Another quick massage down through the center of the hand. And softly plant that hand on the floor. Climbing over to the other side, they're going to place their hand behind their head. Your hand on their hand, arm is on their back, not on their spine, scooping up underneath that elbow. Taking a breath, and with that exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. And one more time, exhale, lift. And release, bringing that hand back behind them. Massaging that hand, so fingers in the palm, working through the center of the hand, to the heel of the hand, down through the pinky and the thumb. Over to the next two fingers. Down through that center finger. Down through the center of the hand again. And have them roll back over since I missed the spot. do this other leg. And normally I do some stuff with the shoulders, but my booty would be in the picture and it would be an awkward position, so we're not going to do that tonight. So we'll place that foot up into the thigh, your knee on one side, and then on the other side, the hands are like this, and we're going to compress on the thigh and on the calf. Again, if that's opening up that hip too much, slide a blanket underneath there, taking it all the way down toward the ankle and on that hip, up and down 3 times. Last time. Sliding that leg out. Very shortened version of our Thai massage that we do in class, and to switch partners, you grab hands and you help them up, and then you switch, and then you lay them back down. So this is what happens in class. He gets it twice because I can't let him do that to me and talk at the same time. So, switching out your partner. You're going to come between their legs. Their feet are kind of falling open a little bit. And you're going to gently press right in the arches, but gently, because you don't want to press that ankle bone down on the floor.
Are you doing it again?
Yeah, they're switching partners. They won't remember what to do. I don't complain about getting it twice. And pressing up on those calves. His back is hurting tonight, so I'm going to go gentle. I'm going to walk you guys through this. Does laying on your back hurt?
It hurts.
And we're going to scoop up underneath the knee. Does this hurt it or make it feel better?
It's fine.
We're going to press up into that armpit. You can have that foot on that shoulder, and then you're going to exhale and press into that. I'm mostly just going to talk you through it instead of doing too much because his back is hurting. And exhale, press up into it one more time. And then we're going to rotate that knee around in a circle. So make sure you cross the center line of the body and make a big circle with it. Pressing up as you make that big circle. And one more time. Rotating that around the other direction. Three times around. Make a big circle. My circle's not very big right now because I'm just trying to watch for his back. And then we're going to place that foot on the thigh. And we're going to press up and down the thigh and the calf with the palms of your hand, not letting the hand slip. One last time. finish that up, slide that leg back out. We're going to bring the other one up. Bring that up to the shoulder. And pressing up into that armpit. So you're going to exhale into it. And inhale, release. And exhale into it. And inhale, release. And one more time, exhale into it. And then we're going to make a nice big circle, making sure you cross the center line of the body. 3 big circles in that direction. And then rotating the other direction 3 times around. I know I'm doing this out of sequence. I didn't do it the same as the other side.
Make it rewind.
And bring that back down. Okay, we're gonna stop. You can rewind that last massage. His back is hurting really bad, so I'm gonna let him quit. We usually end in Shavasana. So that is either laying back to back or you can spoon. And so I'm just gonna show you and let you finish off on your own since you have to finish that massage. And we just kind of spoon and we breathe where his belly is in my back. Heads are supported. And we lay here for a couple minutes just breathing, enjoying one another. So, sorry to interrupt your massage, but his back is really hurting. So, I just wanted to give you guys that. So, rewind that, give your partner the same amount of time in that massage, and next time it'll flow a lot differently. So, hopefully it gives you guys something different to do and a fun date night, and just have fun with it.